On the Guitar Music Theory course available to members of the Secret Guitar Teacher site, there are 2 full-length lessons on the theory of pentatonic scales. But even these 2 long lessons barely scratch the surface of this fascinating subject. So in this short video lesson today, all I really want to do is whet your appetite for exploring the subject further. Pentatonic scales are normally learned as a series of box-shaped positions or patterns that look something like this. Learning them this way gets these patterns drilled into your fingers so that you can locate these notes all over the fretboard when learning to improvise over blues or rock progression. But what are these actual notes and how do they relate to the major scale? Well, if we add fret numbers to our box diagrams to pin the notes down to the key of E, we can then give names to all the notes we're playing. And immediately we see that we're covering the fretboard over and over with the same 5 notes: E, G, A, B and D. Now what we like to do in music theory is compare everything to the same benchmark. And the benchmark generally used is the major scale. To make the minor pentatonic from the major scale, we leave out the 2nd and 6th notes and move the 3rd and 7th notes down a semitone. So we say the formula for the minor pentatonic is 1, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 7. Now we can take a look at why this scale works so easily over a typical 12-bar blues progression. There are, of course, many different ways you can play a 12-bar blues. But most of the time, the underlying chord sequence is made up of dominant 7th chords rooted on the 1st, 4th and 5th steps of the key scale. So in our example key of E, that would be E7th, A7th and B7th. So perhaps the first thing to notice about the minor pentatonic scale is that it includes all 3 root notes of these blues chords. So if, like many guitarists, you find yourself a little bit stuck over exactly how to use the pentatonic scales to jam over a 12-bar blues, then a good starting point is simply to target these root notes of the blues chords over the changes. Maybe something like this. So here's the E. Now the A, and back to E. B, A, B, begun to get a feel for how that works, try applying the same idea in each of the 5 positions of the pentatonic scale patterns. And I think you'll find you'll soon begin to feel a little more oriented as to where these root notes can be found in each of the 5 positions. You can then branch out and explore how the notes of the pentatonic scale relate to the other notes in each of our blues chords. For example, the E 7th chord includes the notes E, G sharp, B and D, the 1st, 3rd, 5th and flatted 7th notes of the E major scale. The E, B and D notes can all be found in our E minor pentatonic scale. So we've got open E, got B there, open D, another E there, we've got the open B, we've got a D there, and we've got E at the top. And then the G sharp note can be targeted simply by bending the G note up a semitone. Now the A 7th chord comprises the notes A, C sharp, E and G. Of these, only the C sharp is absent from the E minor pentatonic. The others can all be made to work as phrase end notes over an A 7th. Obviously the A, the E, and the G. 3 out of the 4 notes of the B 7th chord are also easily accessible from the E minor pentatonic scale. B and A are directly in the scale, and D sharp is readily available again by bending, in this case, the D note up a semitone. So we can target the B note, or the A note, or the D sharp note by bending, and they all fit nicely with that B 7th chord. I'd quickly like to stress here that this approach to improvising is only meant as a stepping stone, just a way to get your initial bearings. Once you've developed a bit of confidence that you can find phrases that sound right against the chord changes, then it's time to cut loose, cast caution to the winds and allow your ears to select the notes that sound best. So I'm going to play out now with a demonstration, a sort of accelerated view of this progression from the initial play by numbers approach to all the way to sort of fully improvised blues soloing. See you again soon.